Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
You know, a lot of people are getting really upset about the massive media consolidation that's about to happen under the Ellison's watch as Netflix have announced that they are not planning to counter the bid that Paramount made to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. However, I am not as upset as everybody else about it, simply because Warner Brothers Discovery traditionally for all time has been an albatross that has hung around the neck of many companies, and literally every company that's ever acquired it, that acquisition has gone disastrously. So,
oh, I see. You're taking that route.
Yes,
I hope you're right. To paraphrase a Dave Chappelle character, I hate you, and I hope all the bad things happen to you and only you. It's how I feel about the Ellisons. So, look, I hope that's how it works out. I hate that they're gonna get this. I hope it single-handedly destroys their company. That'd be great. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be tremendous.
Yeah. So good.
And look, if CNN is forced to be destroyed, if CNN is forced to be Barry Weissed, and to lose all credibility and essentially become a right-wing media outlet so that we can no longer turn to CNN for news, I say they had this coming to them after they decided to, as I saw someone say, basically turn their entire channel into 24 hours of crossfire nonstop, essentially. So
yeah, that's pretty much it. Every clip I see from CNN is just a panel of people who generally get on my nerves. Like that's mostly what I see. All right, so the big story this week, as you wrote here, senile grandpa rambles for 2 hours about a reality that doesn't exist. That is correct. That is that's pretty much what happened at the State of the Union. I would ask you what your opinion on it is, but I think I've given it.
That's it. I mean, that's it. Again, like I don't know. I don't know if it's delusion. I don't know if it's just a purposeful unwillingness to accept reality. I don't know if it's if he finds himself in a bubble where he's just surrounded by people that only tell him the things that make him happy.
There's definitely a bit of that.
Right, but maybe not, because this is the entire Republican Party. Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, you have not one, but
still don't
several.
Change I'm stick with my last statement. Yeah,
I mean, again, you have not one but several polls coming out in advance of the State of the Union, showing Trump, I think at like 30, like hovering somewhere around between 36 and 39% approval ratings. You have people like he's underwater on his handling of the economy. He's well underwater on the fact of tariffs. He's underwater on immigration, the single issue that people that voted for him were like, yeah, like this is why we're voting for this guy, because he's going to fix the immigration problem that we have in the country. He's underwater on immigration. And yet anytime this is brought up, anytime this is shown to any Republican official or member of his cabinet or him, fake polls, fake news, it's fake. I don't, but then in the next breath, he's like, I don't know why there's not more people supporting us out here.
Like, okay. And also, guys, you got to vote for me, because if I lose the midterms, I'm fucked. Like, no, why? But why would you think that? Like, if you're doing so well, why would you even make the statement that you're not going to win? It's things are not going well. I think it is a level of self-delusion. I think that's true, but only to a point, right? Like
and again, you know this because like somehow the two simultaneous facts exist that like the economy is the best economy that it's literally ever been in America, but also we're still dealing with the mess from the Joe Biden presidency that was left to us, and that's why GDP growth is only at 1.5% last quarter, and that's why. Why like we're still net negative on job creation so far since the beginning of the presidency, and that's why we still have the same trade deficit or a bigger trade deficit that we had last year after all the tariffs were instituted and in place and all this other stuff. So again, greatest economy ever, but also we're still polishing the turd that is the Joe Biden economy that was left in our laps a year and a half ago. Or a year ago. Sorry, it hasn't been quite a year and a half. So.
Yeah, I mean it's really quite funny, right? Like one of the things that a lot of people are pointing out about the State of the Union is there were no accomplishments, right? We passed a big beautiful bill. Like what else did you do?
Yeah. More than any president ever has in a year. Like the most successful presidency in the history of the presidency. But we can't point to anything specifically that we actually did. But we're just gonna tell you that the vibes are great.
The vibes are good. Also, ignore the fact that I have a Congress, even though it's completely controlled by me and my party. I have the most do-nothing Congress in American history, the least accomplished Congress. But no, we're doing great. We're doing great, guys. For the love of God, we're doing great. If we just keep saying that, maybe we'll convince someone. Look, it being almost 2 hours is ridiculous. It was the longest State of the Union of all time, which is, look, shout out to him. Didn't think he'd actually do it. To be honest, like the way he's sundowning, which is probably why you're getting all the ranting and shit. I thought he was just gonna like be a mess. Though, if you watch the beginning of the speech, homeboy seems a little hopped up on.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm pretty sure, like, if you were to get a camera into the Oval Office before that speech, like, he would basically be looking like Tony Montana at the end of fucking Scarface, but just surrounded by Adderall.
Yeah, like
on the Resolute desk. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was coming in hot. Like, we're winning. People said we couldn't win, and they don't even know what to do. I'm like, are you okay, bro? Are you okay? Because you seem like maybe, just maybe, your brain is on fire right now, and it's trying to come back down. And like, people are like, I saw Johnson and Vance are behind him, and like they're laughing. It doesn't feel like they're laughing with him. I think they're laughing at him, and it's like, oh, cool, we have a jester for president. I'm super happy about this performance. But it leads me to a viewpoint that I hadn't really thought about, which is, why are we still even doing State of the Union? I know it is required to do a State of the Union, but it is not required in the manner in which we do it. Originally, presidents would literally send a letter over to Congress and be like, this is the State of the Union, fucking, we're awesome. And then just send it to them. This last century, or like in the 20th century, like this idea of going in front of Congress and like the president appearing like he's the boss of Congress, which is very weird, and half the people stand and applaud, half don't. Just in the last couple of years, people started yelling out at the president. That's a new standard. Thanks to Republicans, which they love to forget and get mad at Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar for doing. Like, oh, I can't believe someone would do this. Like,
what lack of decorum? Like, ignore the fact that fucking almost 20 years ago, you lie was the fucking thing that we did. But
right. And then also Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. Remember, they yelled at Joe Biden, right? So, I mean, it just leads me to the attitude of like, we don't need to do this pageantry anymore. It's stupid. And I saw, was it Jamel Bowie, who's from the New York Times, who's a good follow, by the way, if you're on like social media. And he basically was like, listen, if you're in a time where Democrats are saying that he has all these authoritarian behaviors and dictatorial, ambitions and all this other stuff, then why would you go to an event that legitimizes him as president? Like, Democrats shouldn't go if that's what you're saying. He was like, and I agree, that is what he's doing. Then don't go to the fucking event. And a lot of Democrats didn't, but all the Democrats should just be like, fuck off. We're not going to stand in solidarity with this. This is ridiculous.
The only way that I think this could be a redeeming factor is if for like one day a year, the president basically has to become the prime minister, where he has to sit in Congress and get yelled at by the people in Congress and try to defend his record that way.
That is the best. I love that. That is the best thing about Parliament. So,
but I
yeah.
agree with you. It's yet another institution that has that's more to your point. It's a more modern revelation than people think that it has been. In the past, it's a more modern invention the way that we currently see it. Much like debates and much like presidential debates, they have pretty much outlived their usefulness. Again, like it's basically a 2-hour session for whoever the president is. This isn't just Trump specific, but whoever the president is to thump their chest and talk about like, hey, here's all the things that are so fucking awesome, because you're not going to get a level-headed State of the Union. You're not going to talk about things that are not going well. You're going to specifically it's kind of like it's kind of like you like giving your own performance review of sorts. Like, yeah, like you're going to focus on the things you fucked up on this year. You're going to cherry pick the things that you did,
of course,
really well. Yeah,
of course. It's the same as going into a job interview and they're like, tell me your weaknesses. Like, I care too much. Like, I'm too smart. I mean, if anything, I'm too tall. Like, I mean, my God, I just
right. I've achieved too much. That's the problem. We're winning too often. That's we need to maybe lose somewhere.
Yeah, like so, maybe we could get into a giant a giant war in the Middle East. That'll really fuck things up. So you're like, yeah. So it's I think it's largely just pageantry, and it needs to end. Now, do I think it could come back to sort of a place of normalcy with a normal Republican president or a normal Democratic president? Yes. But Trump is not that person. If you are in an authoritarian situation, that is not the time to have this pageantry. Now, of course, you pull that lever and say, this guy's an authoritarian, we're not coming. Republicans go, all right, whoever you get in, doesn't matter what they do. Like someone like Joe Biden, who is like the most down the middle fucking politician of all time, they're like, nah, this guy's a dictator. I mean, I've literally listened to Republicans call Joe Biden a dictator, which is crazy. But
well, and I would argue with your premise.
Right.
I would even argue with your premise. Yeah, I would even argue with your premise that getting a quote unquote normal president back into the mix would fix this, because again, like the kind of like bipartisanness of the State of the Union has been dead for a really long time. Because again, like even if you had a normal Republican president, do you think like Democrats are going to keep fucking standing up and applauding like all this other fucking bullshit that happened? Also, like, not for nothing, if we're going to continue to do this, can we please institute like a fucking like just stay in your fucking seats, y'all. Like you don't need to fucking stand up and do this standing ovation bullshit. Like, it's, again, to your point, it's just it's pageantry at this point, and frankly, it gives off the wrong image of what the president is supposed to be. Like the president, regardless of what party they're in, during the State of the Union, when you have all these fucking Congress people standing up and applauding the shit out of all these fucking things that he says, oh, I did this and we did that and this, that, or the other thing, that looks more dictatorial than anything else that you could imagine. Like, oh, let us all stand and applaud and fillet dear leader with the praise and the adulation that we must deliver unto him. Like, no, like his job is to fucking run the country, and you in Congress are there to provide a counterbalance to what he's doing. And it doesn't mean you have to oppose what he is doing, but it means that you're there to make sure that you don't have someone that you're just fucking sucking the dick of constantly in these kind of situations. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's curious, right? Because the standing, the applauding and everything else after these like particular lines and things like that, it helps no one. Like, I'm okay if you said, hey, we've got, I don't know, let's say during the first year, fucking little Billy saved his daughter, saved his sister from a burning building. And he was like, this is a great American story or whatever the fuck. It was like, and we have Billy here. Remember he saved his sister, and everyone stands up. That's cool. I don't want to see any standing up like, we passed the big, beautiful bill and all the Republicans stand up and Democrats don't. And, or vice versa. Like, it, to your point, it feels very dictatorial in a very weird way. And Congress is inviting the president to this event, right? A lot of people don't know that. Right. Mm-hmm. So they have to literally send a formal letter to the president, like, please come speak, do the State of the Union in front of Congress. Just stop doing that. Just stop doing it. Like, Democrats Take the first shot at this. Just stop doing it. Like, oh, it'll be a big controversy on fucking CNN or whatever. Explain yourself.
You'll get over it, and you know what Trump will do? He'll fucking give a address from the West Wing, or he'll give it from the desk or whatever, and prime time will carry it. But guess what? That's preferable to me than having again this filleting ceremony, of constant and well, knowing Trump, he would probably load the Oval Office up with his fucking cronies, and they would still do the same shit.
Well, he just give one of his classic team meeting speeches to his sycophantic camera. So, yeah, we can watch one of those. Yeah, and look, I don't really generally care about the State of the Union because I don't think it particularly does anything. It in this case is just like, all right, senile grandpa is talking. Who gives a fuck? Let's see if he poops himself and falls down. Like, otherwise, I don't give a shit about the State of the Union. I really don't. I did laugh at some of the mainstream media, especially on the right, somehow think that like, oh, Democrats being disrespectful and not standing and all this stuff to applaud Donald Trump is going to really cost them in the midterms. I'm just like, okay, bro, like tell me you don't understand the concerns of Americans without telling me that you don't understand the concerns of Americans. Spoiler alert. They don't watch the State of the Union either, okay? Right. Like the vast majority of Americans are like, what the fuck is the State of the Union?
Yeah, that's right. Ratings were down on Fox and CNN this year for the State of the Union. MSNBC, however, up double digits in growth year over year. So
because they got the fucking dream team on there, and the second he's finished, they're like, this shit fucking stunk, and everybody knows it stunk. Like, yeah. I mean, look, to that point, there were some Pennsylvania special elections, by the way. Democrats won them on an average of like a 17-point swing, by the way, just as an aside. But one of the things out of that, and this ties to what we're talking about, is the enthusiasm gap is super, super big between Republicans and Democrats. Of course, it being on the more positive side for Democrats. And it's the same thing. People want to watch MSNBC because they want to see those guys taking down the speech. By the way, they're not just being, I mean, they're being partisan, I'm sure, but they don't have to be that partisan. Donald Trump is a terrible giver of speeches. He's not the orator that, Barack Obama is, certainly. I saw a clip of, I think it was Megyn Kelly or something like, or no, Laura Ingraham. And she's like, historians are going to have to look at this speech. This is by far his best speech ever. I was like, that is a low fucking bar. How many feet deep is the bar buried underground for you to say that this is his best speech? Look, okay, man. Like, all right, this is the best you guys got over there.
Right. I will say one more thing about the speech, though. Like one of the things that has frankly been undercovered by the media, because again, his insanity has been so normalized to this point that it defies logic that the media doesn't point it out anymore as if they ever did. Literally towards the end of the speech, he said, and I'm going to quote here, referring to the Democrats, like literally fucking talking to them and gesturing to them as he was saying this, quote, "These people are crazy. I'm telling you, we're lucky we have a country with people like this. Democrats are destroying our country, but we stopped it just in the nick of time." And every fucking Republican stood up and applauded when he said that. I hope Democrats took note of that. And so like when we go back and talk about, oh, our friends across the aisle and we're working with, bipartisanly, that's what they fucking think of you, dude. That's their opinion of you guys. Like the president attacks you during the State of the Union directly and they fucking applaud it. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Also, members of the Supreme Court who showed up. Donald Trump was not specifically nice to you, the people who showed up. He was mean to the entire court. Did you catch it? Maybe just stay in out of spite and don't retire early. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He hates you.
I will say one more thing that, again, kind of went under the radar just because there's no proof of this. But it's kind of a follow-up to something we talked about last week. And I think it's worth pointing out, especially with this White House and some of the inclinations that they have shown, especially in this term of the Trump presidency. So before the State of the Union, a lot of people in the Trump White House were reaching out to contacts, reaching out to reporters, things like that, really talking about how, man, like, Trump's speech, he's got a lot to talk about. He's got a lot to say. It's definitely going to be over 2 hours. It's probably going to be over 2.5 hours. It might even be close to 3 hours. Like, that's how long this speech is going to be. And they were really getting the word out that this was going to be the way that what happened. And as it happens, Trump's speech clocked in at a little under 2 hours. Again, to your point, still the longest State of the Union address ever given, but a little under 2 hours that he gave. Interestingly, you'll never guess where the over-under line on how long will Trump's speech be was on all of the prediction markets that are out there.
Had to be 2 hours.
That would be 2 hours. And yet the White House is out here saying, well, it's going to be way longer. And yet it comes in just under 2 hours. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder how many people that are closely connected to the Trump administration in some way, shape, or form might have taken the under on some of those odds.
At the last minute.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's something, again, like when we talk about the need to regulate prediction markets and the like, something to pay attention to as time goes along, at how much is this White House specifically kind of putting the fix in on a lot of these prediction markets and who's getting rich when it happens.
Exactly.
So,
and by love it, I mean, this is the most abysmal thing I've seen in a while. Gambling on politics seems cool until you realize the people running the show are just gaming it for financial benefit. Really pathetic. And they're already billionaires, but they got to get like an extra like 20%.
Yeah, it's almost like you probably shouldn't be able to gamble off of things that could be directly influenced by people who have visibility and insight to what you're gambling on.
Yeah, shocking. All right, let's move into news you need. This is interesting. In a tense deposition, Hillary Clinton denies knowing Epstein or his crimes. However, that is not the most interesting part of this story. So during this closed-door deposition, by the way, from people who were in the room, it has been reported that Hillary Clinton answered every single question she was asked, except for a couple like, "Hey, does Bill know about this?" She's like, "I'm going to leave that to Bill. Like, Bill's there tomorrow, right?" Like, she can't answer that. She answered every question she was asked. She never pleaded the fifth on anything, and she said she did like a little press conference afterwards. She says, "Yeah, they asked me about Epstein, and I was like repeatedly like, I've never been to the island. I don't fucking know the guy. Like I have no association with him whatsoever." And then they started asking her about UFOs and Pizzagate. Proving yet again that Hillary
the most serious
Clinton,
people on the planet, Republicans.
Yeah,
they're so serious.
Super serious. But Hillary Clinton in a room of Republicans will always be the smartest person in the room by far. But they don't have anything on her. Yo, you're not getting her, yo. You couldn't get her for 11 hours straight in a public hearing on Benghazi. You think you're going to get Hillary Clinton on this bullshit? She's not even involved in it. Like, she's not. She's not even
and there's nothing to suggest that she is, aside from the fact that her husband was apparently buddies with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. So,
but are you friends with all your wife's friends? No. And vice versa. Yeah.
Like to hang out and shit. Like maybe I know them. Maybe, right? Like, to a point of like, I could tell you more than the most cursory things about them. Yeah, sure. But yeah, it's hilarious. Like, hey, so what do you know about UFOs? What am I doing here? Like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, they are incredibly unserious people. So, to the shock of no one. But during this deposition, which is the most interesting part, known moron Lauren Boebert decided that she was gonna she's gonna take out her phone.
Well, it's funny.
Snap a pic.
It's funny because earlier this week, she was actually getting praise because she's been one of the Republicans, and we'll talk about Tony Gonzalez later, but she's one of the Republicans who's been out here being like, Tony Gonzalez has got to go. And people are like, wow, like what a mature, like I even saw a back and forth that someone clipped out that she did with like a Republican on Twitter, because she's like, hey, like he's got to go, and the guy and someone replied to her like yeah, like probably does, but now's not a good time, because if he goes, that's going to sway like the House, like the majority in the House. And she's like, hey, how about this? Fuck you, he needs to fucking go. Like I'm like, wow, like Lauren Boebert showing some principles, yeah, right. Like weird, how crazy. And then she took that goodwill and just could not wait to light it on fire. That's immediately. Right.
So she decides she's gonna, like, in the middle of the meeting, she's like at the other end of the table. She's like, fucking give me a picture of fucking old Hillary right here. Like, bam, got a picture of the big dog. And she texts this image to Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson is a conservative, like right wing podcaster, general troll. Benny Johnson has had a rough like week or two. His wife has been online defending the fact that no, my husband is totally straight, which is a completely reasonable thing that every wife does all the time on the internet. So poor Benny Johnson, a bit of a rough couple of weeks for him. Just come on out of the closet, bro. Like, it's cool. Like, don't worry about it. So he receives this message from Lauren Boebert, this picture, and she's like, yeah, look, I got a fucking picture of Hillary Clinton during the deposition. Well, this dumbass, they're both dumbasses. He like puts his like the Benny Johnson show fucking watermark all over the image.
The shit out of it because he wants to make sure he gets the credit for blasting this thing fucking out there. So
right, so he watermarks the shit out of it, puts it up on his like X account or whatever, and he's like, look, we got pictures of fucking Hillary. She's in there sweating right now. And the second that got out, deposition's over. Like, you broke the confidentiality of the deposition. So it was like, flag on the play, fucking yellow card or whatever soccer term, red card. And so
if they put the kibosh on it right then and there and didn't resume, yeah, that's a red card.
That's a red card.
See? That's a red card offense. So
yeah, see, I know football. So yeah, they ended it. They were like, nope, that's it. And look, people are like, oh, Lauren Boebert did this on purpose because of like XYZ 40 chess, and she wants to distract so Hillary doesn't say anything about Trump. I was like, here's an idea. Occam's razor. Lauren Boebert is an idiot. Like, she's just an idiot, guys. Like,
you really don't have to think about it any further than that.
Yeah, you're giving this woman.
Stop right there. Yeah,
you're giving this woman way too much credit. Like, nah, dude, she's just that dumb. And I don't know why people are particularly surprised. I'm not surprised. Like, these people don't take anything seriously because they're a bunch of dumb children. Like, when it comes to this shit. So yeah, then Hillary came out and was like, yeah, they asked me to talk about fucking UFOs and Pizzagate and all this other stupid shit. And look, frankly, I think this gives Bill Clinton the perfect, I'm not testifying in private. Yeah. Fuck you guys. You guys can't even keep this shit locked down. We'll do it in public. He's not saying, don't say you won't testify. Just say, I want to testify in public. To me, what is even the argument? What's the argument?
The argument is the Republicans don't want Bill Clinton to just be out there on the record to find out that A, Bill Clinton probably hasn't done anything wrong in the context of like the Jeffrey Epstein situation, A, and B, they don't want to be seen treating Bill Clinton like shit because they know that there's a lot of people out there that still have a fondness for Bill Clinton, or they're worried about getting dog walked by Bill Clinton. To your point that you made a couple weeks ago, Clinton's still a charismatic fucking guy who is probably.
I think it is incredibly dangerous, politically dangerous, to put either one of the Clintons on TV because they're both smart as shit. You may not like them. You may think that their opinions don't matter. And look, you might even be right. Like, I would argue you probably are right. However, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton still have a level of charisma and pull in politics that is remarkable. Like, it is, and Hillary less so, but Bill does. They wheel Bill Clinton in on a fucking gurney every 4 years and have him do a statement at the DNC, and somehow it still works. Because look, oh, get Bill out of here. We hate Bill Clinton, whatever. What happened the last time he was at the fucking DNC for Kamala Harris? He made that statement where he was like, I looked it up. And Democrats created 50 million jobs over the last 30 years, and Republicans created 1 million jobs. He's like, I looked it up twice. Don't believe me? Go look it up. And that was a thing that people remember. And you know what they did? They went and looked it up. And you know what? Bill Clinton was fucking right. And people use that shit as a fucking hammer to smash Republicans over the head with.
And you know why Bill Clinton? You know why Bill Clinton has done such a good job at kind of maintaining relevancy is because Bill Clinton has not made us get tired of Bill Clinton. Because when Bill Clinton left, he kind of just faded off into the background. You didn't see Bill Clinton. You didn't hear from Bill Clinton all that much, except for, once in a blue moon, usually about something important. Even to a point that like Obama has tried to stay away somewhat, but Obama's been out there a lot more than Bill Clinton has. And Bill Clinton just I'm going to go away. Like even when Hillary was in the Senate, even when Hillary was the Secretary of State, even when she was running for president, you didn't see a whole lot of Bill Clinton. Yeah.
No, I mean, look, maybe he was out there maybe that's when he was at the fucking island having a good ass time. Who knows? I can't say, but he's a dangerous motherfucker to play with. And
now, Jay, I do feel like you're being a little unfair. I mean, like I said, Bill Clinton, obviously very wily, very charismatic, very, like a force to be reckoned with. You're telling me that James Comer can't go toe to toe with Bill with Bill Clinton in a charisma off?
Oh my god! Oh please, let it happen. Yes, James Comer, James Comer, this is your life as Bill Clinton dog walks you across the decades in front of everyone. No, I think they gotta know that he is. He politically is still a dangerous fucking person, man. He is. And I mean that in a positive way. He can pull people in a way that people go, damn, he is making some good ass fucking points. Because that's what'll happen. They're going to ask him some crazy fucking statement like, you were at the island and you were doing blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, I wasn't there. And by the way, check out this smooth saxophone. And you're like, fuck, he's so good. He's so good. He's wearing the sunglasses again. And before you know it, Bill Clinton has pulled people on that fucking oversight committee, and they're like, oh, I mean, that does make a lot of sense. And then you're fucked. You're fucked. And that's why he's a dangerous person to have up there. That's why they want the Clintons behind closed doors so they can come out, build their own bullshit narratives and be like, yeah, Hillary Clinton was there and she stabbed a little girl and Bill was high-fiving at the same time. You just say anything, right? That's what they want. They want to just build a bullshit narrative. But if that motherfucker's on TV, you can't. And they're going to get embarrassed. But if I was Bill Clinton, I would just be like, look, you blew this shit last time. I didn't want to do a private deposition. You guys said that's what you wanted to do, and you can't even keep your shit straight in a private deposition. Absolutely not. I'll do it publicly. I have no problem in saying anything, but I'll do it publicly. Frankly, I would make the argument, and it is the proper argument, that so much has been hidden about the Epstein files. The last thing the American people deserve is more of it to be hidden. Now we're doing more testimonies, but we're going to hide those and then give you, pieces here and there. No. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let's all just go right on to Capitol Hill, fucking put this shit on 4K and broadcast it on the internet and on TV, and I will talk for as many hours as you need me to. To me, if you're a Republican, you're watching it, you're like, what is the fucking argument?
It is kind of remarkable that closed door hearings are even a thing unless you were specifically interviewing someone about something that is classified.
National security.
Right.
Yeah. No, there should be, by the way, that should have been something they should have added into the Epstein Transparency Act. It's if you are going to call anybody in to testify to oversight committees or anything like that, they have to be public hearings. That would have been a nice little fucking.
Don't worry, odds are good in the next within the next year or so. We're going to be getting a lot of public hearings about people that are in the Epstein files. So one way or the other.
This is the biggest thing to me. Do you guys really think there's only one of two ways that goes? You're going to go on. You're going to get subpoenaed. You're going to get brought in, and you're going to have to do these testimonies and everything else, or you're going to have to destroy evidence and then hope that they don't figure it out and you don't go to prison.
Hey, speaking of which.
Yeah. So this story is fun. DOJ scrubs records of interviews with a Trump accuser. This story is fucking wild. Okay, so I've been doing a healthy amount of reading on this. So what happened is independent journalists Roger Sollenberger and Nina Burley, they figured out through some records in another database, another Epstein file database, that there were 50 pages missing from the sort of tranche of Epstein files that we got at the end of January, right? The 300 gigs or whatever. Those 50 pages, very specifically, are notes and details and transcripts from 4 interviews they did with this woman in 2019 who gave detailed story about being sexually assaulted, raped by Trump around 1984, somewhere between 83 and 85. She was introduced to Trump in 84 by Jeffrey Epstein. What she alleges, because she's a child at the time, right? I think she was like 13 or 14. What she alleges in the notes for people who have seen them, what she alleges is that she was forced to give oral sex to Donald Trump. She bit his penis. Shout out to you. Good job. Fuck that guy. She bit his penis and he punched her in the head for it. To me, it's like, if those 50 pages are bullshit, why are they missing? They're not redacted. Right. They're missing. Because if they were redacted, they would have to explain why those are redacted. Okay, that's the reason those are missing. And they thought no one would notice that these 50 pages were missing, except people totally fucking did. They started doing the interviews, I believe, July of 2019, and then they ended in like October 16th of 2019. So these are fairly recent interviews. But again, this is not the same as those like how Pusha T and Jay-Z are mentioned in the Epstein files, where they're like these weird, completely unsubstantiated, like, hey, I'm just calling in. I saw Pusha T and Jeffrey Epstein hanging out selling cocaine on my street. Like, okay, that's not, who is this, right? That's not what these are. The DOJ actually sat down to do interviews with this woman. Like she had a lawyer and all this other shit. This comes, of course, at a time where Pam Bondi is like, Donald Trump is the most transparent president we've ever had. Have you seen the Dow? Right?
Yeah, it's under 50,000. I guess now she can get around to investigating Epstein.
Oh, thank God.
People. So
we just missed it. So yeah, this article from the New Republic says Sollenberger discovered a record of 4 separate interviews, which took place in the summer of 2019 in a separate database of documents downloaded from the government's public files on Epstein. That document indicated that the first of the 4 interviews was conducted on July 24th, 2019, and the last conducted on October 16th, 2019. The document was given to Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer as part of her trial, though the specific allegations predated Maxwell's involvement with Epstein, Sollenberger wrote. The woman's first interview was entered into the FBI's case files on August 9th, 2019, just 1 day before Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. FBI agents typically have a deadline of 5 working days to file interview write-ups, indicating an abnormal 16-day gap, Sollenberger noted. This is as close to a smoking gun as it gets. It really is. Because, again, if this was bullshit, exculpatory, you would leave it in. You like, all right, this is Donald Trump didn't do this shit. This is all fucking bullshit. Leave it in. Maybe even redact a couple parts of it. But that's not what they did. They left it completely the fuck out. Now, of course, when the DOJ is asked about this, and Pam Bondi's asked about this, they go, Donald Trump is the most transparent president. Like, they just don't answer it. But yeah, this is obviously total bullshit.
And this is the thing that makes me scratch my head a little bit about how the DOJ is handling this. Because again, like you have a law that's passed that says you should have released these things months ago.
Right.
But like you're redacting all these things and like perhaps over redacting, perhaps not. Or in the case of, the files they released recently, like leaving like stuff that should be redacted, you're not, and that sort of stuff. Right. But like you put it out there, you flood, Congress with all this shit. And you're just like, like they'll never, like, it's gonna be tough to get through all this, like in time. But it's like, you do understand that the press is not going to leave this alone.
No.
And it's not like one person in the press is covering it. Like tons of people are covering it. And by the way, did you see that somebody created, and this was a couple weeks ago, created this app called Jmail, which basically lets you go in and search through the Epstein files, and it kind of formats it in an actual email conversation instead of like the printouts that they have.
Oh yeah.
So that, it's real easy to search through, and it's a pretty complete database as far as what they publicly released and what's been unredacted. So far, at least as far as like the emails going back and forth.
Yeah, no, that's been around for quite some time. Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. Not only, to your point, not only are journalists not going to leave this alone, because people are still finding stuff now because there's so much data, right? Like people, like they're like, holy shit, did you see this? Like this is crazy. But not only are journalists not going to leave this alone, your own base isn't going to leave it alone. This is their thing of like, we got to catch these fucking pedophiles or whatever.
Yeah, the true believers, are very much, very very much care about this stuff.
Yeah, and guess what? There's going to come a time where you guys are not in power. And I don't mean you're not in charge of Congress. I mean you are not in power at all. And when that time comes, like I said, you have one of two options, which is you got to let it rock. Like, they are in charge of everything. They're going to see everything. Or you're going to have to destroy evidence. And the people who are willing to destroy evidence are the people who clearly are willing to go to prison. And I do not recommend that. If you're some low FBI guy and they're like, we need you to put this in the shredder, I'd be like, that is something I cannot do. Like, no, thanks. Cannot be done. So, or just be like, yeah, sure. And then file it away. Just file it away because there's just no fucking way, man. There's just no way I would sacrifice myself for that bullshit. But maybe some people would. Like, it won't be me. So, yeah, I do think this. I think this is likely the biggest smoking gun, to be honest. I really do. So, good. I hope a bunch of people go to fucking prison. Speaking of going to prison, I hope it is the president. Or you can just throw him off a cliff. That's also fine. Just
Yeah, I don't really want to waste the taxpayer money to house him in a penitentiary.
Yeah, but like putting him in like solitary confinement with like a 24-hour camera on him, that'd be
yes. Like if we were allowed to like watch it anytime, like yes, that would be fantastic. That could get around the whole solitary problem, because he wouldn't be alone. We'd all be there with him, but not physically. Us very safe in our homes, and him in a very tiny cell.
Yeah, like
by himself.
I think it would be great. Like he could just it'd be like a one-man show. Like, he would just be like ranting and raving to the camera, like I did nothing wrong and they indicted me. Like he could do all the hits, right? He could do all of it, and he would just know there's a camera and it's a 24-hour feed. Like that's what they would tell him, but secretly that camera goes nowhere. And it just plugs into the wall, and there's nothing. And it's just an old man ranting at a camera, and then he dies. That sounds awesome. So, all right. I don't know if I want to do the next story. I think I have. You know what? Before we get to a serious story about Cuba, I have a little bit of a surprise for you, Brad.
Okay. We love surprises on this show. Let me tell you.
Look, Brad. It's been a long time. And I feel like it is best to go back to some of our roots. It's been a long time since he's made a video that we played on here, but James Carville is back, Brad.
Oh, personal message for Donald John Trump. And you sit still, you son of a bitch, when I'm telling you this. I'm going to tell you right where you are, you fat, sorry sack of shit. People hate you. Now, let me give you, and I'm not just saying this because I don't like you. I'm saying this because I'm telling you what's happening to you right now. And get ready to tell you what's going on. First of all, everybody is stabbing you in the back. You can trust no one. I saw the story today where, of course, the Pentagon, because your boy Pete, he can't control shit, okay? It was already back leaking that General Kane told you about all the dangers in bombing Iran. Because why are they doing that? Because they hate you. And they're going to leak, and they're going to talk to the New York Times, and they're going to talk to everybody else, just like your own staff, right? Susie Wiles, she hates you. That's evident. Sure. Already told you that. They're all leaking like crazy. They're all wondering what's going to happen in the next job. They don't give a shit about you. Okay? They really don't. No, you can't trust anyone. Trust no one. What? Okay. Maybe Stephen Miller. Okay. I'll give you that one.
I'm going to pause it there because there's a very funny thing he does, which he goes, and Stephen Miller, and he kind of does like an Adolf Hitler mustache in the moment. Like, I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it was very funny to me.
Now, the Congress, they can't stand you. They're not going to pass shit for you. They're not going to do anything for you. They hate you. They know that you're bringing them down to staggering defeat. Don't trust any of them. I wouldn't, even the ones you could trust couldn't do shit anyway. Like Mike Johnson, you don't know whether to whine his ass or scratch his watch. Supreme Court, well, I left the fucking house.
That is a southern ass fucking euphemism.
That's a great fucking line.
That is the most southern fucking thing I've heard someone say in quite some time.
I love that. He doesn't know whether to wind his ass or scratch his watch. That is fucking great. I love it. All right, keep going. It's almost over.
But masters to deal with. You're not part of the fucking equation. They don't care about you anymore. They use you. You appointed them. They fuck you. Great. That's just where you are. You know, sit still, Trump. I'll tell you to sit still when I'm talking to you, son of a bitch. Okay? When you're a loser, you lose.
Look, I don't care for James Carville's general view of American politics. I think it's like the sort of like the third way bullshit. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that. But I love a James Carville rant. I truly do. I think they're great. The man is good. The man's good at what he does. Nothing was better than him going, how long do you think it was since Donald Trump has seen his own penis? Because he's so bad. It's like, Jesus Christ. Top tier political commentary. All right, so from the shenanigans into the serious, let's talk about Cuba. I shared a couple of links and stories about this to you. It was not on my radar, and I have a feeling that it is not on a lot of people's radar, but the United States is actively trying to destroy Cuba, quite literally. We don't hear too much about Venezuela much anymore, but since taking down Maduro, the United States has had a blockade, right? Making sure that no Venezuelan oil is going to Cuba. Right? Because that is the number one place that they got their oil. Probably the only place, to be honest. And because Cuba doesn't have any oil, and it's been a number of weeks, they've run out, and their oil refinery has like caught fire as well. Mm-hmm. And so even if they're brought oil, they're kind of still fucked because the refinery has to be fixed before they can even use the oil that would be given to them. Because of that, like their sewage systems have stopped working because they're having 20-hour blackouts and things like that. These rolling blackouts across the entire island. Pretty much, I think the vast majority of the island is in darkness at this point, except for a couple of like key places like military bases and things like that, which shouldn't surprise much of anyone. but the people of Cuba are suffering. This is largely at the hands, obviously, of Donald Trump, but largely at the hands of Marco Rubio. Because Marco Rubio's big thing that he wants to do is he wants to get the Castros out of power once and for all in Cuba. And, you know, I don't know what. Become the president himself? I have no fucking idea. But basically destabilize Cuba to the point of disaster. That's what's happening. And the people in Cuba are suffering. And they are seeing disease like cholera and things like that pop up because there's sewage literally all over the street. I get hating the Castros. I get wanting your people to be free or whatever. I'm not a fan of what they're doing, obviously, and I'm not a fan of Marco Rubio at all. But killing and harming your own people is not the way to do this. It's not the way to ingratiate yourselves as liberators, so to speak, even once this government falls. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just
and I think you're seeing this done. So, like, basically what you're seeing right now is, again, since the U.S. controls the Venezuelan oil market, basically, right now, like, they're able to kind of dictate where, like, who can't get it effectively. Right. You're also seeing, like, blockades being set up and things like that. But, again, it's being not really reported and undercovered. And I think the reason that you're seeing this done the way that it's being done is because, again, we saw what they did with Venezuela, where they were literally, like, seizing oil tankers and stuff like that in the lead up to actually landing, you know, people on the ground and kidnapping Maduro. And the response from that was quick, and it was fast, and it was loud, and it was made pretty clear that, like, hey, like, this is not, like, yeah, like, fuck Nicolas Maduro, but, like, this is not the way, kind of shit. And they learned that lesson and said, okay, well, we're going to do it a different way. And we're going to do it in a way that's more prolonged, that's more drawn out. And that's why I do agree with you that I'm sure that, like, Rubio is behind this, because if Trump was the one pulling the strings, he would just fucking send in, like, a fucking SEAL team or something to murder, like, the Castro regime and then just, like, you know, ball out. So the fact that this is being done in a much more intelligent manner, a much more measured manner, would suggest that someone who's competent has their hand on the wheel in this situation. Right. And Marco Rubio is a lot of things, but a fucking moron is not one of those.
No,
things,
he's not an idiot. He's a piece of shit, but he's not an idiot. Yeah. You know, that being said, yeah, it is being done competently, but it is being done in a way to maximize brutality towards these people, right? Yeah, but I get your point, right? Like, Trump would just be like, fucking just bomb the shit out of the island. Who gives a shit, right? Like, they wouldn't have, it would have just been, you know, like, spray and pray kind of, like, thought process. But it is sort of this controlled, measured blockade that feels somehow worse. I mean, the outcome is definitely worse, but
yeah. Because you're
people and everything else.
Yeah, like, you're vastly impacting, you know, regular people on the island,
right?
By doing this.
Well, and that's always been the point, right? I mean, that's what they're trying to do in Iran, right? They're like, oh, well, we don't want to bomb them. We just want to make things so politically unfavorable to the government, and even make the situation bad for the people to an extent that they just rise up, right? And the problem is, I don't think Cubans really want to rise up against the Castros. Like,
yeah,
I don't think they.
Yeah, the desire just isn't there. And again, like, there's a lot about Cuban politics, like, within Cuba, that I don't understand, that I doubt many Americans understand, because it's kind of a closed ecosystem in terms of, like, information getting out and stuff like that. Right. And really all we hear about is people that escape Cuba. So I would imagine that most of the people that end up in Florida are not going to have a whole lot of positive things to say about the Castro regime, right? So, I mean, for all we know, that, you know, the majority of citizens can act. I mean, it's kind of in the same way that, like, a lot of like most Russians are, like, pretty cool with Vladimir Putin, actually, like partially because they have to be in there and all they get is state sponsored media essentially all the time. Right. But that is what they get. And so that's what they see, and their perception of reality is different than the rest of the world's. So
exactly. But then you talk to Russians who have left there and they're like, it's the worst place on earth. You know,
right.
It's like, so, I would probably agree with you. I've seen all the dash cam videos. That's my number one way of understanding Russia. Dash cam videos on YouTube, obviously. And, you know, it's the same for Cuba. Like, what I know about Cuba is from a couple of scenes from the Fast and Furious movies. So, not really. I know they do a lot of street racing. And for some reason,
they apparently also have, like, according to Die Another Day, they have, like, genetic modification clinics where they can turn an Asian man into a redheaded white guy, which is bizarre science.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, from like BD Wong to Damian Lewis. Like, it's just craziness. How do they do it? The Cubans have all the technology. But yeah, this is really awful. No electricity, no oil, and impossible choices is the name of this article from Wired, and it's a very good one. So go check it out. This is the type of shit that's happening 90 miles off the coast of Florida, guys. Like, this isn't halfway around the world. It's fucking right next door, which is just really awful. So, way to create another humanitarian crisis. Real cool. Good luck, Marco Rubio, for being the Henry Kissinger of Latin America. Well, the new. I'm about to say,
did we already have a Henry Kissinger of Latin America? Yeah. It wasn't his name Henry Kissinger.
Yes, it turns out. The guy was like, hey, wait a minute. Like, it's like, hey, look, I'm down here, but like, I did that. That was mostly me. Yeah, that guy won a Nobel, which is insane. Next up, Dems are trying to get the IRS direct file back. Tell me why Democrats are trying to do something positive, and why are Republicans trying to stop them?
Well, and I think this is worth pointing out that even though Democrats are not in power, and even though Democrats are not have no way to force a lot of these things to happen, they're still doing their fucking jobs and doing the best they can to make these things happen. So we will recall that when Trump came in last year, among the dismantling of many federal agencies, one of the things that they did get rid of was the direct file program that the IRS had adopted under the Biden administration. And basically what the direct file program is it lets you just file your taxes directly with the IRS instead of having to go through a tax preparation service. For a lot of people who have normal taxes that don't have like a shitload of deductions or itemized things that they need to look at, or a fuck ton of credits that they need to analyze and stuff like that. Like for the vast majority of taxpayers, taxes are pretty easy.
Yeah, easy,
and
what is it, the easy one document? Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's one of the, and it's easy because the IRS knows what you owe or what they need to pay you back. Like they have this knowledge. The reason you do tax prep is to inform the IRS generally about the things that they don't know about. Like, again, like itemized receipts that might be due to your business or credits that they might not be aware of, this, that, or the other thing. But if your taxes are normal, you should be able to just file it directly with the IRS. Except Republicans did away with this when Trump came back into power, because they are neck deep in the pocket of the tax prep lobby, which is a weirdly powerful lobby because, again, like without it's something that every American needs to do. And, you know, if you can just do it with the IRS, then a lot of these companies would go fucking out of business. And so they got rid of direct file last year. But right now, 160 Democratic lawmakers and counting are backing a bill that they're going to be introducing to Congress soon to bring it back.
Yeah.
And make sure that not only can citizens file their taxes directly with the IRS, but it would also make sure that the IRS cannot enter into agreements like with TurboTax or shit like that would restrict its ability to provide free online tax preparation and filing services.
Yeah, there's
so that's great.
Yeah. This is the boring shit in politics that people go, oh, thanks. And then they never appreciate They never like it happens and they go, oh, that's cool, thanks, and then they just do it and they're filing with the government for 20 years and they're like, that's great, and then Republicans come in and go like, we're getting rid of that, and they go, hey, I didn't realize that was like a government thing, and then it's like, yeah, this is why like you should vote for people who actually give a shit. Yeah,
and again, like my taxes are pretty simple every year, but I still go through like a tax prep service just because I appreciate that additional peace of mind. But that shit's expensive, man. Like it cost me $100 to file my taxes this year. Like that's a lot of fucking money, and that's cheap.
I was gonna say it cost me a hell of a lot more than $100.
Right, because you probably actually have like a guy that you talk to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I got to embezzle this money somehow. I mean, come on. I mean, like, let's be serious. Look, you don't just go to H&R Block to embezzle money. You get a guy, right? He's also my bookie, right? So yeah, I mean, look, I think this is just, again, this is one of those like the boring parts of politics, but it's the stuff that people need. This is how you help people in real ways. When people go, Democrats don't do anything, and it's like, yeah, we saved you hundreds of millions of dollars every year, not going to H&R Block to do your fucking taxes. People are like, well, that doesn't make a difference to anybody. Like, it makes a difference to somebody who's like would be paying $100 and now they're paying nothing. Like, it does make a difference.
And this is one of those things that like I'll never understand why Republican voters don't get more up in arms about this shit, because again, there's literally no reason for the IRS to not be able to do this other than Republicans want you to pay a tax preparation service to do this for you and force you to spend money on something that you shouldn't have to spend money on. There's no benefit to you, the consumer, by forcing you to go through
none.
Whatever TurboTax or H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or whatever the fuck may be, or God forbid, like I used to when I was 15, doing it by hand, which I couldn't imagine doing anymore. So
I certainly did my taxes the first couple of times. I was like, let me see what this is all about. And I'm like, fuck this. But like, when you get a little bit older, you're like, oh, the little easy tax form, like take like 2 minutes. Yeah. All right, got it. Look, in the world, like it is really silly. Like even in the world of AI, you should be able to like feed your yearly W-2 in and be like, fill out the fucking easy form. And they're like, here it is. Like it should be, it should be super easy. I'm sure you probably could do that. I don't know that I would trust the automatic math. I would be double checking it so I don't get arrested. But at the same time, there's no reason that you need to go to H&R Block or any of these places unless you have something complicated. But this is like healthcare. If you allow 95% of people to do it the easy, cheap, free way, that covers most people. But you still have the choice to go to Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block, or whatever if you need additional shit. You pay for that out of pocket, but you know that if ever comes a day that you got like just super basic taxes, you can get that done for free. There's no reason that people can't do that. It's actually a perfect analogy for healthcare. Like if you can understand this, you can understand healthcare. It's just not that difficult. But
remember when Republicans wanted taxes to be so simple that it fit on a fucking index card? Remember that was Paul Ryan's whole fucking thing?
Paul Ryan,
he was around.
Herman Cain, all those guys. Yeah. You don't remember the infamous 999 plan? Come on, Brad. That was awesome. It's the same as how taxes work in SimCity. It's 9% across the board.
Hey, it's important. Like, could you imagine if our government had like a little slider they could use just to adjust on the fly how much taxes?
That's what Trump wants to do with interest rates.
I know. Like I said, it's great in city skylines when I need a little boost to my revenue and I can afford to make my citizens a little less happy. But shit doesn't need to happen in real life.
Yeah. Well, you're not a very good mayor. That's all I have to say about that.